right, everyone. Welcome. My name is Chris Fastine, and I'm so happy to be with you today and for this Q&A we're doing for A Royal Secret and to be part of the 13th annual Broward edition of the OUTshine LGBTQ plus Film Festival. First, as always, a special shout out to our presenting sponsors, Gilead, Broward County Cultural Division, and Culture Builds Florida. We're so appreciative of your support and everything you do to make our film festival possible and all the work that you help us with. And as always, a special thank you to our producer circle members and all of our fans and everyone who comes to support the film festival. And if you have been coming to our film festival and have not become a member, please consider joining today. We're an amazing organization. We have wonderful events, and we're so happy that this year, yes, we're doing things quite a bit virtually, but we're actually able to get back together in person quite a bit this year. So please consider joining our amazing organization. But yeah, without further ado, we're so excited to be doing this Q&A on A Royal Secret. And we're so excited that today that we have director Lisa James Larson and producer Lena Renberg, who will be joining us momentarily.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lena. Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
In Stockholm. We're in Stockholm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. And can you tell us where you're calling us in from today?
Stockholm, Sweden.
Great.
It's morning for you. It's mid-afternoon for us.
I know. I have to keep myself. I know I'm about to have coffee. I think you might be thinking about happy hour very soon. Great. Well, we'll get right to it. So an amazing mini series, I guess 4 episodes here. Just tell us a little bit about the project, the inspiration, where it came from, and yeah, please kick us off.
Yeah. Well, this started like 3 or 4 years ago with a scriptwriter / creator who approached me, and he just sent me an email saying, "Do you want to do one of the biggest legal scandals in Sweden?" And I immediately knew that he was talking about this, which is called the Hyby affair in Sweden. And it's been a kind of official secret for many years, since it happens in the 30s and 40s. So then we met and started working, and he had already written a lot. And we went to the Swedish broadcaster with it, and they said, yes, let's do this. And Bengt has a special way of how this got about, how this came about for him, was when he was in one of these sauna clubs. Do you call them sauna clubs?
Yeah. In the 1980s.
In the late 1980s, in the old town in Stockholm. He was sitting listening to 2 really old guys, really old, were like 83 or 84 or something, talking about these yacht parties that King of Sweden used to have in the 30s and 40s.
There's the yacht.
Exactly. That's the yacht party.
That's the yacht party.
With him and a lot of beautiful men, young and old, anything. And he was sort of famous for these parties. And they said the only time when he wasn't available, in a sense, for others was when he had his wife with him, and that was Kurt Hyby. So Bengt thought, wow, here we have a story, because homosexuality was forbidden in Sweden. It was a criminal offense until 1946, and up until 1978 it was considered a mental disease. Yeah, so that's why he started writing about it, and here we are 4 years later. And it's going to be a Christmas special on a Swedish public broadcaster in Sweden, which is huge. Yeah, it is. And we don't really know what the royals will say, but
they will watch it though.
Sure.
Yeah, that was my first question. Is because it's it was obviously a while ago, but still recent enough. There's maybe either the grandchildren or there's some obviously surviving relatives, potentially even surviving people who remember the incident or the trial. So what do you anticipate at this point?
It will be interesting because Princess Victoria was one of the guests at the Gay Gala last year. So I feel like outwardly the attitude is completely different, obviously, than it was 50, 60, 80 years ago. But it will be interesting. I don't think they're allowed to comment.
No.
We did want to film inside the actual Royal Palace, and we were not allowed to film inside. They just wouldn't. They weren't allowing us to do that. But we did film right outside, and we were allowed to film everywhere apart from 5 minutes from the wall. So we literally walked him up towards the Royal Palace and then cut the minute he was 5 meters away from the door.
Okay.
So, yeah, it would be lovely if we knew someone who knew them. It would be interesting to hear.
But I think today, the legal scandal that he was sentenced to jail for something he didn't do, it's more outrageous
of course,
than him being homosexual or the king being homosexual. In Sweden, it's not. I mean, it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, no. Well, that's good. That's good, and especially Christmas time airing, there'll be lots of
watching.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about some of the locations where. So you said you couldn't actually go into the palace, but where exactly is the film shot? I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, I'm sorry, the series is shot. It's beautifully shot. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the locations?
Oh, thanks. We shot it half of our locations were around Stockholm, and half of our locations were around Gothenburg.
On the West Coast.
On the West Coast. So we found everything we needed with it in Sweden. And the castle is made up of 3 different locations.
Yeah, 4 actually, wasn't it?
Is it? Well, the exterior here, plus the 2 different castles. So we just found the biggest, most beautiful rooms that we could, and managed to fit it to the script.
It was a hassle though, because we were supposed to shoot in Hungary. We found all our locations there, but then COVID came, and 2 weeks before we were flying down, and they shut the borders. They closed the borders down. So there we were, nowhere to film, and we had to sort of raise the budget with a lot of money because it was so much more expensive. We don't have any tax incentives here either. So it was a hustle, and we finally found everything. But I think today that it's so much better. I mean, creatively, artistically.
I don't think of any of the old locations at all.
No, exactly, because this really is Sweden.
Yeah. The bathroom was the location that sticks out the most for me in the final scene, and where they have the bath together.
Right.
So when I found that room, which was one of the biggest rooms in the places that we went to, I was like, I felt this is the bathroom. This is where we have to make it, with these 3 huge windows. So it was pretty much a creative epiphany every time we found a location. But as you said, it is beautifully shot. My DOP Frida Wendel is a genius, an absolute genius.
It's only women behind the camera in this series, and only men in front. It's quite the opposite, you know. The only man around us was the scriptwriter.
Yeah.
So all just it happens sometimes, but it just happened. We didn't even think about it.
No.
Right. So you talked a little bit about the involvement of the scriptwriter. I mean, certainly anything else you want to add on that, but can you tell us a little bit more further how the project came together, how you met Lisa, how the actors came on board?
Oh yeah, that's all a lovely journey as well. Lena and I had wanted to work together for a number of years. And when this came up, you just called me, and I came in, had a talk to you first, and then Bengt did the pitch of how he'd come up with the story and what it was about. And to begin with, I felt like a little nervous, because it felt like it would require such a sort of historical knowledge and such enormous amounts of research, and also sort of an intrinsic Swedishness, which I don't have entirely, because I've only lived in Sweden 15 years and I'm only half Swedish. But I read the script, and then I read it again, and I just thought, but if I don't do this, someone else will, and that would be awful. I fell so profoundly in love with the story, and thought, and just the more I read it, the more it came to life, and it was just impossible not to do. So I took it on with all my heart, and it has been my baby for 3 years. As much as I didn't write it and produce it, I put everything into it. I've never loved a project I've done more. So I'm thrilled that she called me, and that I had the balls to take it on.
It's been such a lovely journey in all ways. It's not always that, you know, when you shoot things, but this have actually. And you know, when we took the first picture last summer in June, I think it took me like 5 minutes to understand, this is going to be fucking great. It's going to be fucking amazing, you know. I just saw it, because I've done a lot, you know, as you have, but so I just, wow.
It just knew
it, you know, after 5 minutes of shooting.
It was because it wasn't rushed into either. The script had been ready for a good few months. We'd had plenty of time to really not have to rush the process. I felt like I knew the story inside and out by the time we went to roll, and that's also quite unusual. Often the script is kind of hot off the press as you shoot.
And also the two main actors, if we should talk a little bit about them. Sverre Gudnason, he's done quite a lot. I'm not sure if you recognize him from Björn Borg film or anything else.
The girl with the dragon tattoo.
And she did this Viggo Mortensen film recently also.
Yeah.
So he's quite well known.
He's international, yeah.
But the other guy who is a theater actor and theater writer and director, actually, he's been around for a long time, and he's also really well known in Sweden, but not outside Sweden. And Staffan, the older guy, he's gay, but Sverre isn't. But when they met, it was like
as is the writer.
It has a good chemistry, you know.
Right.
Can you feel it that they were sort of a good chemistry? I suppose. Chris, can you feel it on the screen?
I do, yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, for sure. No, you can tell. I mean, really strong chemistry, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you feel so bad. I didn't get the actress's name, but the one who plays Anna. You know, just
Sanna.
Yeah, her journey is. So tell us a little bit about like what it was like casting her and like her role in the history, but also in the project.
That was also really important to get a woman who could carry her side of the story with that level of emotional involvement, so she didn't feel like a subsidiary character.
Yeah.
And Sanna came in and she just nailed it. She had everything I wanted. In real life, Anna Heiby was 10 years older than Sverre, so I knew I was looking for an actress that could play a wide age range as much as Sverre needed to. But she came in and she was just so sensuous and so awake and open, and she was just a joy to work with from the very beginning. But I was thrilled when I found Staffan and Sverre, and I could rehearse with them so much that they could become really, I mean, they were really from point A, incredibly relaxed with one another physically and mentally. It never felt awkward, it never felt difficult. It was always very comfortable between the two of them.
And it was always when you said they were doing the nude scenes, and you said, "Oh yeah, we have to take it carefully," and they were just, "Whoa, yeah, sure, it's fine, everything's fine." So it wasn't an issue like that. No.
We love our cast. There isn't a single weak one amongst them. If we say so ourselves, they're brilliant.
Yeah. No. For sure. Yeah. For sure.
Fun.
And I guess maybe we've kind of talked about this, but why this particular project, and how do you think the story resonates like now? You know, we talked about that it's that obviously the decriminalization of homosexuality, and that it's no longer considered a medical condition. But what do you think the relevance is like in 2021 of I'm sorry I keep calling it a film, but it's this series. What do you think the relevance of it is now today?
Well, for me, I feel it's about living your life full out and being yourself, being able to be yourself and true to yourself. But it's also the larger question of the complexity of all human beings. And the biggest challenge, I think, was building a character and portraying a story where you don't paint him in only one light, and you don't say that he was a martyr or that he was evil and a manipulator. It was really important that me and the whole team, and particularly Sverre, were in agreement that he was never lying, that for him, he was always telling the truth in the moment. But despite how incredibly conflicted he is inside as a character.
Yeah, and he was probably a con man and a lover at the same time, switching from one side to the other. Yeah,
with as much conviction in every direction.
Exactly. But what we think we know is that the king was in love with him.
For sure.
But if he was really in love with the king or not, or just conning, we don't know.
And we don't want to know, because we're not telling a moral tale.
No, it's not.
We're just telling a life sort of fate.
Yeah.
But I think definitely it resonates.
And also, the Crown. We don't want to be compared to the Crown, of course, but it has opened some doors. But it has opened doors to those kind of stories within palaces, in a way. I think.
Well, in palaces, but also where you don't go too much into, was that real? Do I need to Wikipedia? Which bit was real? Is that character real? Is that what happened that year? That you kind of have a bit of peace of mind about, we're not making a documentary, we're dramatizing a true story or a story based off of the facts that we can gather. But that we don't get too wrapped up in whether this happened or that happened or whether it happened this month. I think that's one of the things that the Crown is open.
But exactly. And we think, as I think the Crown thinks, that we are very close to the truth, actually, here. I mean, of course, we don't know what they talked about when they were private, but we think we are close to the truth. And I mean, surprisingly enough, no one has done anything. I mean, like TV or film about this before, which is
They have tried, but they haven't managed to get all the way with it because they didn't find the angle of it being a love story. It was played more as a court case. But we have,
and now it's both a court case and a love story and a
human rights story.
Human rights story, of course. Yeah.
Right. What's your, I guess, go in order, Lisa, then Lena. I don't want to make you choose your children, but what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite moment or a favorite character?
I do, yeah, I do, but it's a really easy answer because then you have to watch all of it. It's the last 8 minutes of episode 4. It's 8 minutes without any dialogue, and I just feel immensely glad for the last 8 minutes. They sit I wouldn't change a frame in the last 8 minutes.
You see the last 8 minutes of the
episode 4. So from when the judge gives him his sentence to the very, very end, those 8 minutes are for me perfect. But there's so many scenes that feel stand out. I know that Lena loves the sauna scene.
I love the sauna scene because it also had some comedy in it.
Right.
When the king forces what's his name?
The governor.
The governor, yeah, and
his private secretary to come into his sauna fully dressed.
So good.
You see them fully dressed, like starting to sweat.
Fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, as you see, we are very fond of our own series.
Yeah, I don't want to totally spoil the ending, but it's without going here too much. But you see when Anna and Kurt see each other again after the imprisonment. What are we supposed to? What do you think we're supposed to take from that?
What do you think we're supposed to take from that, Chris?
I know, put it back on the internet, right?
I mean, the subject is there, isn't it? Of years of companionship and betrayal and love and loyalty.
Right.
There's so many layers of how many times is she going to take him back into her life and into her arms? And maybe this time, I don't want to give it away.
No, exactly. Don't give it away.
It's so loaded with relationship.
How long can you love? How long can you love someone?
Yeah.
Right.
How much can you put up with?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a funny scene where I guess where it's right before this. I think it's the beginning of episode 2 where she's talking. It must be her daughter, I guess, her like teenage daughter.
Oh yeah.
And the daughter's like, "Yeah, Mom, were you surprised about this?"
Yeah.
And she was.
Yeah, she was a little naive. She was very naive.
Great. I guess I mean, anything else you'd want like the audience to take away from the movie or remember?
We're just it's kind of new and we haven't screened it that much. So if you get any feedback, we'd love to hear it.
If it's good,
yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so what's next? I know
if there's any praise for us, send it away.
No, but I mean, are they wondering? And we would love some feedback if you have some.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll see what we can do there. I guess in terms of, so I guess we're one of the first. We'll be one of the first groups. What's the next? What's kind of next in? I know you said this can be screened in around Christmas time.
Yeah, but then next festival is a festival in Denmark called the Aarhus Film Festival or something, and then we're sort of traveling around, I guess.
Going on tour.
We're going on tour like a rock band.
Great. That's great. Great. I could keep on talking to this, but I guess I'd always love to. I mean, kind of to build off that question. Any final thoughts? Any things that I haven't talked about? I'd love for us to mention.
She's a very busy producer.
No, I can't try.
I don't think so. I mean, I never set out to tell anything moralistic. I just wanted to make something that felt authentic to the characters and to just do justice to this relationship and to all those storylines that you talked about. So I hand it over. I hand my baby over now, and there's not really much more to come with it. I don't want to do any footnotes really on it. I think it speaks for itself. I hope it does.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm curious to see on the journey and how it's received. And because they say the art, once you put it out there, it's really no longer yours, right? It's the public's, and so it's up to the public to either to love it or not love it, and to take their meaning and interpretation.
How do you think the American audience would perceive it?
I think they'll love it, because I think there's this curiosity. We were kind of talking about The Crown a moment ago, but I just think of how it's so different for us, even though I guess the history of the U.S. that we broke away from the monarchy, but it's still, people are very much obsessed with that image, what happens in palaces, what happens in royalty, and that sort of secret life. I mean, I'm biased because I love like sort of very historical dramas, but I think there's a very big appetite for this type of story, and again, because it's just just such a beautiful series to watch, but also like the costuming, the characters really take you back into this, they transport you back to the 40s and 50s, and yeah, I'm very excited to see what our audience says. And
wonderful, great, as are we.
Yeah, as are we. Okay, I have to go. You know,
she has to run.
Well, thank you both
Do
so
you
much.
want to continue?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we'll wrap it up right there. But yeah, thank you so much, Lisa and Lena. It was so wonderful to have you both online. And yeah, to our audience, definitely make sure to check out A Royal Secret. It's a wonderful, wonderful series that we're showing at the 13th annual Fort Lauderdale edition of the OUTshine LGBTQ+ Film Festival. Thank you both so much. Thank
you.
Thanks,
talking
Chris.
to you. Yeah,
cheers.
thank you.
Wonderful. Best of luck. We can't wait to
Have a
see
great
you.
festival.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Feel it, feel it, feel it.